VPM Enterprise is organized so that creating an application can be a step-by-step process. The first step in the process is to design your application. You can get as detailed as you want in the design of your application, but at the bare minimum you should design the menu structure as well as the data structures before continuing. After you've done that, you can begin by creating the starter application. And you do that by entering VPM and clicking Cancel on the Open Project dialog, and then clicking on the New Project button. On this New Project form, you then fill in information and click the OK button for the starter application to be created. For our purposes here, we're going to cancel and just look at the sample application for the rest of the steps. But after that starter application is created, you're going to want to enter the menu structure that you've designed as well as the data structures you've designed to create the actual data files. Now, the use of the menu builder and data builder to create those structures can be done in any order. The idea is that those two things need to be done before you continue on to the next step, which is creating the objects that are run from the menu options. So if we go into the menu builder first, go into the menu designer. For example, we will add a menu option, and I'll call it test. Change the result to command, and then exit. Then close out of the menu builder. You should now see that my test option has been added to the menu, and I can now create an object to be run from this particular menu option. But before I do that, I'm going to want to create the data in this application. And of course, in the sample application, it's already been created. But in the steps that you would normally take in creating an application, before creating the objects that run from the menu options, you would define the data. This is where you define the cursor adapter libraries and the cursor adapters that are in those libraries, or you create the databases and then the tables and views that are in those databases, as well as defining the field information, index tag information, and so on. Creating the data dictionary information allows Promatrix to easily then create forms that are run from the menu options in your application. So you need to not only get the data structures created, but the data dictionary information into the Promatrix data dictionary, so that that information can be used to create the objects that run from the menu options. So now that we've got our menu structure defined and our data defined, we can create objects to run from our menu options through the object builder. If we use the test option that I added, you'll see that when I click it, Promatrix has determined that there has been nothing defined to run from this menu option yet, so it's going to ask us what type of object we want to run. For instance, if we want to run a form, we'll just leave form selected and click OK, and then it will prompt us to enter the name of the form that we want to create. Again, I'll just call it test. The form editor then comes up, it's going to automatically create the menu option command, in this case do form and the name of the form, and when I click edit, we're actually going to be led through a process of creating the form. So as you can see, we need to define our menu options and our data in order to get through this process of creating the form, so that ProMatrix can fill in the menu command, and then by using the data we've defined, actually then create the form. You can then continue to create all of the objects in your application, the forms, the programs, and so on. And at that point, there's some of the final functionality that needs to be put into the application, like creating the messages that you want to have displayed in your application, defining any language-specific functionality. Are you going to allow multilingual functionality in your application? If so, you need to define the translations for the strings, in other words, the captions of labels and so on that you need to have performed in your application. You then need to create the reports of your application, and then define the security features that you want enabled. Again, we have 4 levels of security: login or system access security, menu security, control security, field security. So depending on which of those features that you want to use in your application, you'll need to do different things, but they're all very easy to set up. Once you've got the security defined, you're then ready to go on and distribute your application or install it. And to do that, you use the product builder options. So as you can see, this is really a step-by-step process. You create your starter application, and then you go down the list: menu builder, data builder, creating the objects, language builder, message builder, string builder for multilingual functionality, report builder, security builder, and then distribute the application. So it's a simple matter of going down the list of options here, and one at a time, just completing your application. Of course, you can go back. After going through this, you can go back and make changes, make additions, and change things. It's not like you have to do everything perfectly the first time through. You can go back through as many times as you need.